Right, so I'm just making a comparison between my two cars here. They're SX4s. My car that we're currently sitting in here is a 2007 model, 2-liter. This one's only two-wheel drive. You can see the mileage that the car actually has. It's getting long in the tooth. It's 12 years old plus now. Still gets me to work every day, so I'm happy about that. It's got a few issues, but nothing too serious. The current fuel economy on this one is actually, as you can see, 8.8 liters per 100, which actually might not, again, I realize that's not the greatest fuel economy in the world, but the car's getting old. We're in pretty cool conditions now. In the summer it gets a wee bit better, not a great deal better, but a wee bit better. So I'm actually just recording what the parameters are here, the OBD, just in the global mode of the OBD2. Just looking at the live data list here, and I've actually jotted down everything for the sake of making a comparison on my other car, because on my wife's car, it's the same car, 2 years newer. It's a all-wheel drive model, but apart from that, the exact same engine. I don't see why it should be too much different. When we first got these cars, the fuel economy on my car was 8.1 liters per 100. It's degraded a bit since I've had it, since it was newer, and as you would expect. But hers is currently at the point now where it's hers is actually at 9.8 liters, and that seems excessive. There's no check engine light on her cars. There is on mine. There's a few issues with the catalytic converter and a few other things, but nothing I'm going to action, because this car is getting a wee bit too old for its own good, and it's beyond economical repair actually with respect to the issues with the catalytic converter. And there's no requirement for clean air anymore in Ontario here, so it's not going to be too much of an issue for me. So I'll get you in my other car and we'll look at the parameters for that. I've jotted down the critical parameters here, and we can make the comparison with the other car and see if it actually leads us anywhere. What I wanted to really focus on was the fuel trim, the short-term fuel trim figures, and the mass airflow, to see if there's a significant difference between the two, which, you know, there clearly shouldn't be. As I said, it's the same engine. There's virtually no difference between the cars apart from the fact that one's all-wheel drive. Yes, it's equipped with some different equipment, but I don't see that making too much of a difference. There's currently a split of 1 liter between the cars, so that's 10%-ish. So that's quite a bit. So we'll get into the other car momentarily. So here we are in my 2009 model. You can see the difference on the kilometers there. Still pretty significant kilometers. Both of these cars are used for commuting purposes, so they're getting up there. As I said, this is a 2009 model, and you can see this is the all-wheel drive variant. 2-liter engine, same engine, and as I said, you can see the difference in the fuel economy is pretty significant between the two, and I'm not really sure why. So that's actually the point of this inquiry at the moment. So just going to go through the numbers here. So I've jotted down, for comparison's sake, the figures from the other car. Both the cars have been idling for quite some time. You can see the engine coolant temp on my other car when I took the data was at 86 degrees, and you can see this one is actually at 81. Of course, they're both in closed loop. As I said, this one has no current issues at the moment, so no DTCs in this one. We're in closed loop. 22.7%. That's actually identical. Engine coolant is 82 degrees now. Short-term fuel trim, well, that's a good sign. It says 0. So I think theoretically there should be a difference in the long-term. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The long-term fuel trim's at -2. I guess we'll have to maybe, of course, we're at idle here, so we'll bump the car up and see if we can see if there's an issue when the car is actually off idle, shall we say, make it simple. RPM in my other car was 725, so that's virtually identical. Vehicle speed doesn't matter. Spark advance, virtually identical, 11 degrees ish in the other car. Intake air temp, virtually identical. It was 36 degrees in the other car. This is a wee bit warmer. The mass airflow, that's the one I was particularly interested in. And you can see I recorded that. It was at 2.15. This one currently bouncing, just like the other one was, no significantly bouncing, but wee bit of jumping around there. But again, no significant split. Throttle position, 14.5. Sorry, I didn't actually record that figure. I didn't think it was very significant, to be honest. And I don't think there's really anything else worth looking at here that's gonna the EQ ratio there, virtually identical. Again, I didn't record that, but I recall the figure being very close to 1. So it looks like there's probably an off idle issue that's causing it to run rich, I'm guessing, because or something is actually, there's a parasitic drag of some sort. That's another possibility, but again, that's the whole point of this inquiry. So yeah, that's pretty much up for the entire list. So we're back to the top of the list now. So what I'll do is I'll just bring the RPM up, and we'll look at the short and long term figures here. We'll see what's happening. So just come up to, say, 3,000 RPM ish. Don't see much happening there. You can see the figures are still well within the reasonable, I think. Okay, so no point in dragging this out too much longer. Again, there is no DTCs. I don't see anything obviously wrong. Actually, you know what? I'll go back to the mass airflow sensor value here. And what did I miss it? I must have missed it. Let me go back. There it is. So that one there. So I'll come up to 3,000 RPM. Again, ish. So say just 8.25, and I'll take a value off my other car as well and see if that's significantly different. But I don't think it's going to be somehow. So there you go. So I don't know, no easy answers at the moment. Got any suggestions? I'd love to hear them. Doesn't appear to be any issues with a dragging brake or a bearing that's going on the drivetrain anyway. But maybe there's something I'm missing here. As both of the cars are stick, so again, a fairly easy comparison there. No complications with respect to an automatic transmission slipping or something like that. As far as I know, both clutches feel exactly the same to me, so I don't see how there could be too much difference there either. Yeah, I don't know. Another one for the mystery column. Okay, we'll leave it at that for now. Any suggestions? As I said, my other car is at 8.8 at the moment, and this one's at 9.8 with no real obvious rationale behind it. I don't know, maybe a restriction on the intake or the exhaust. You'd think that would show up on the mass airflow reading, eh? But doesn't appear to be. Anyway, that's partially why I'm making this video, to see if anybody's got any ideas or any experience on the SX4 in this department. Be greatly appreciated. Okay, that's it for now. Cheers. Okay, so before I signed off there, I should have brought you back to my other car there. We're going to make the comparison at 3,000 RPM and the mass airflow. You can see the list is actually updating much more. So let me get the roughly 3,000 RPM. So there's roughly 3,000, and it looks to be right around the same figure to me. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm well aware of the fact that if it disconnected the battery, this will obviously go to its maximum value. I think it was 20 liters per 100. I don't recall what the actual max was, but maybe it was somewhere in the order of 20 liters per 100. And of course the car did do that the last time I had the battery disconnected, or I actually changed the battery in that car some 6 months ago. But it's been 6 months. Should have updated by now. That's plenty long for it to update. So we still have a split of 1 liter per 100 between the two vehicles that is currently a mystery. Huh, don't know. Okay, any input would be greatly appreciated, as I said. Right, thanks again. Cheers.